Last of Us Part 2 hits Last of Us Part 1 with a classic dick kick. Today is July 12th, and I just finished playing Last of Us 2 yesterday. Up until July 4th, I'd never played the first game. Despite the fact that I knew the premise of the first game, the end of it, the start of the second, the plot twist in the middle of the second, and the ending, all before ever having played them. So why did I decide to play these games? There was controversy surrounding the plot of the second game, and it intrigued me. I already knew those details about the first game, so I'd figured I'd watch a bit of stream footage and check a couple reviews. I saw some trash the game, and some give it credit. Where do I stand? If you haven't played these games, and you're even considering checking out a new single-player game, or if you have access to a PS4, please don't watch this video. Don't check spoilers online, experience it for yourself, and play these games. Last of Us joins titles such as Breath of the Wild and Witcher 3 of games I'd recommend anyone play. I'm envious of anyone who could experience it without spoilers. Go and play this game now, because here come the spoilers. Back to the dick kick. Last of Us Part 2 takes the parts I enjoyed about the first one and expands upon them, which is pretty much just the story. Every fight in the first game, I felt like I was battling the damn DualShock controller, wishing I was using a mouse to aim, killing time until the next cutscene or piece of dialogue between Joel and Ellie. All along the way in Part 2, characters react to their surroundings and what they find. You see their personality come through during and in between fights. And this time around, the controls feel so much better. For as much as I hate aiming on a controller, it didn't feel anywhere near as bad as in the first one. Other than the story, I did like the exploration and some of the crafting in the first. Part 2 continues to make strides in these areas with the crafting menus and progression feeling streamlined and more rewarding. So, why do people hate the second again? Oh yeah, there was those leaks about Joel dying from a musclehead girl right at the start, and it wasn't a hole in one, it was a hole in 160 goddamn 5. Yeah, he got what he deserved. When I played the first game, I was thinking, damn, Joel just straight up doesn't even ask questions when he sees someone. He just kills everyone. He's bad. You get a glimpse of this when Ellie meets some men out deer hunting. They heard about a young girl and an old man who killed their friends. They know who Ellie is. Oh shit, but my god, Joel killed these guys. They can't be good. They must be evil, right? Right? God. They turn out to be cannibals. You don't feel as bad about killing them now, but for a moment you see their humanity. You continue to walk in this gray area of morality until the end of the game when Joel shoots up a hospital. Now my friend Rajiv, shout out to Rajiv, spoiled this for me. I pictured it being worse, like Modern Warfare 2 shit at an airport full of doctors and innocent people, but some of them shoot back. Until you walk into the operating room where the doctor is about to kill Ellie to save humanity and develop a cure for the virus. No more gray area. You shoot them dead. Turns out you can shoot one, but I shot them all. The direct follow-up on this moment and these themes is what I appreciate so much about The Last of Us 2. The doctor who was going to operate on Ellie was Abby's father, and she kills Joel for her revenge. Now, this is something I've often thought in other games. Master Chief just killed that grunt, man. I wonder if that grunt had a family. Come on, Bungie. Give us Halo from the perspective of a grunt already. So here I was, spoilers and all, thinking I wouldn't care when Joel died. But man, right when it was about to happen, I did get a bit sad and dislike Abby for a moment. There was no 7-year break for me when playing these games, no build-up of anticipation or expectations. It was 7 hours. I just took it for what it was, and in that moment, Naughty Dog gave me the sort of story I was looking for. It was also around this time that Joel began to remind me of Walter White, a man who did the unthinkable at the claim of doing it for the good of his family, unable to admit that the evil they committed was for no one other than themselves. With the death of Joel, Ellie sets off to do exactly what her psycho dad would have done, murder everyone in her way of revenge. She does this with her girlfriend Dina, following in the footsteps of Joel's brother Tommy, who decided to get a head start and do it on his own. After tracking Abby and her crew to Seattle, you find yourself caught in between two warring factions, the Seraphites and the Wolves, not to mention all the goddamn infected. After Dina's pregnancy from her ex-boyfriend is revealed, this leaves Ellie on her lonesome to really start doing some serious killing. And I mean, you just start killing 300 or 400 of these dickheads, bashing in skulls with hammers, asking where Abby's last known location was. On the third day of being in Seattle, a promising lead points Ellie towards Abby. Dina's ex-man has shown up at this point, but he splits when he hears that Tommy might be in the nearby area. Ellie, dead set on ending Abby, proceeds to the aquarium where a couple of the fucks who killed Joel are camping out. So she kills him. But it doesn't matter because they were cannibals too. Uh-oh, no, they weren't. Oh god, she was pregnant. Oh no. Tommy and Jesse are here. Back to Dina we go. Abby is gone, but she's not. In a turn of events, she finds you and blasts Jesse's brains all over the wall. Fade to black. Last of Us 3, coming 2022 on the PS5. This is the ending I want. Nope! Even bigger twist for all these haters. You now play as the Muscles. You experience life through the eyes of the so-called villain. You see the good man her dad was before Joel showed up and murdered him. You lose your father. You start a coin collection. You pet some dogs. You talk to your friends. You get ambushed. You live life. You see what the day-to-day is in Seattle. Just a bunch of people hanging out, trying to fight for survival in this cruel, dystopian future. But do you feel for her yet? Not really. I mean, I'm kind of feeling a bit guilty about some of these other people, knowing a couple hours ago I just killed them while playing as Ellie, knowing that this way of life is about to come falling down for so many. It wasn't until Abby is captured and moments away from death that I started to have some empathy for her. Yara and her brother Lev, two Seraphite outcasts fleeing the punishment of their own people, cross paths with Abby and save her. Quickly, the astounding amount of times someone is seconds away from death only to be saved is something I dislike about this game. What is this, some Game of Thrones Season 8 shit? The confidence and luck of the main cast effectively make them superheroes. So most of the wolves in Abby's shoes would surely have killed these children the moment they were set free. But at this point, Abby, with no hesitation, escorts them to safety. Awaking from a nightmare where the bodies of her youthful saviors were hung up, Abby continues to disobey any orders or expectations that the wolves put on her, and she makes her way back to Lev and Yara. Abby sees the condition Yara is in and brings them back to the cannibal doctor stationed in the aquarium. The doc, being short on supplies, sends Abby and Lev out to the hospital to gather some tools for what is commonly called a de-arming procedure. Abby is taken by surprise when her team flames her in voice chat for not following the meta and going AWOL for a couple days. So they lock her up and throw away the key until her Firefly pal swoops in with cheat codes and frees her. Next thing you know, you're in the basement of the hospital fighting this Resident Evil fat fuck zombie looking all sorts of gross, but it's no match for the boulder punching Abby Redfield. Back at home base, the arm comes off and all is well, until Lev is worried about the safety of their mother for the actions him and his brother took leaving the Seraphites. So he heads back to their island on his own, and now you have to go and save the day again. Along the way, you run into some son of a bitch sniper, and guess what? It's Tommy, baby. It's not until moments before the end that Abby has any clue her actions in Jackson have had consequences here in Seattle. So she chucks his ass in the water and continues the mission. Back at Yara's cabin, Mom is sliced up and Lev is in tears about it. He had to end her after she was hitting him with a bit of lip because the dishes weren't done. The wolves show up and kill Yara. Now Abby has a choice. Back to the wolves or stick with her homie Lev. And again, no hesitation, she sticks with the real homie Lev. After some popcorn movie action, you make the great escape with Lev and head back to SeaWorld, but uh-oh, the cannibals were killed. It was that son of a bitch Tommy, and he left behind his map. Flash forward, Jesse's brains on the wall, Tommy shot, Ellie fleeing, and the most epic boss fight since the water dungeon at Ocarina of Time, you fight yourself, and you find out you're pretty fucking good at this game. Abby beats up Ellie, and now she's about to slice Dina's throat, but
she's pregnant.
And Lev's innocent plea extinguishes the rage in Abby, a moment of humanity. Now that you've lived life as Abby and seen what she's been fighting for as all of her friends and family were dying around her, you feel for both sides of the story. Who's the real villain? Is there one? As an aside, I couldn't help but be reminded of some of the current events going on right now. If you follow the Smash Brothers competitive community, then you know that recently there's been an absolute outpour of sexual abuse stories coming out where top players, community figures, and people in positions of power use their influence to victimize innocent people, often ones who looked up to them. I admit, some of these people I respected at one point, but it's clear that they were only showing a facet of their personality. And it's easy to see only the good or what you desire in someone, as easy as it is to only see the bad things. It isn't until you spend all day, a week, month, or years with someone until you begin to see their flaws and understand the hardships that everyone faces in their own unique ways. Now wait a second. The game isn't over, but I had the spoilers. But I was wrong, I didn't have them all. Back at home, Ellie and Dina live a life with their young boy and farm animals. A seemingly peaceful day turns sideways when a loud crash sends Ellie spiraling. A panic attack. PTSD of the events in Jackson, which resulted in a murder movie festival in Seattle. Unable to exact revenge on Joel's killer, Ellie suffers through sleepless nights, feeling unfulfilled despite having what should matter to her most. Tommy, alive but injured, shows up at their doorstep with a lead on Abby's location, pleading for Ellie to take action. Though initially she refuses, another restless night gets the better of her. She leaves Dina and the baby behind. In the meantime, Abby and Lev are in search of a Firefly outpost in Southern California until they're ambushed and taken prisoner by a local gang. Following in their footsteps, Ellie defies death yet again and fights her way out of captivity from the same gang members. The old fat one heard Ellie mention Abby, and he says they picked up Abby 2 months ago. Oh shit, plot twist. That was a Fallout 4 moment, waking up 60 years later, except this time it was cool and unexpected. One final murder movie at the biker base, and you find Abby and Lev strung up like a nightmare. 2 boats await at the shore, a flash of hesitation from Ellie, and a demand to fight, with a knife to the throat of Lev. Now, if there was ever a time I didn't want to play a game, it was right about then. The game demands you press square to progress. An hour into this story, and most players would have anxiously awaited this moment. However, when faced with the full reality of it, any sane person should be wanting no part of it. This was the most uncomfortable I felt playing a game maybe ever. I have a hard time thinking of a moment that I could even compare it to. It's like when Game of Thrones used to be good and characters died. Finally, moments away from drowning Abby, Ellie gives up. Another flash of Joel, what I presume to be the last time they spoke. A heartwarming agreement to try and resolve the conflict between them, to move on from the meaning that was robbed from her life. Abby, bleeding and drained, moves on with no question. Last of Us 2 is nothing short of a cinematic masterpiece. Naughty Dog has started off the decade strong, single-handedly pushing forward what I expect from a single-player action-adventure narrative by putting the player into uncomfortable situations where you're forced to act on the controversial, unexpected, and difficult emotions that the characters deal with. As a video game, Last of Us Part II comes in at a very strong 9 out of 10 for me. The distress and varied emotion that Naughty Dog was able to put me through has me excited for the potential of a Last of Us Part 3. Where is Dina? Has she moved on? How are Abby and Lev? Is there hope for humanity? And does Ellie have a chance at finding meaning in her life?